like a delay. Welcome everybody to TiC Writer's Block. This is a special edition. Couldn't wait to start. This is Kid Smooth, and we got a special guest with us here today. But before we introduce who he is, let me introduce the panel, or they can introduce themselves.
Mr. Nicodemus.
What's going on, YouTube? Yes, this is Nicodemus. I'm a writer at TiCGN.com, and I'm just definitely glad to be here once again. I'm glad you guys keep letting me on this show. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we just like let you on. You're not a normal person here.
Oh, I am. I
didn't know. It's only been like 8 weeks.
I think he wants a raise.
That's what I'm hitting at. That's what I'm hitting at. But yeah, good to be here, guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Fame Entertainment here, Vice President at the Inner Circle. Make sure you guys get all your gaming content and news from TiCGN.com, and make sure you join the greatest gaming Facebook page on Facebook, Hard Knock Gamers. Make sure you guys come in and have great conversations about great games. And yeah, man, thank you guys for joining this special edition of the TiC Writer's Block.
And of course, we like to introduce our guests from Stormcloud Games. Richard Wood, please let everybody know who you are and why you're here.
Yeah. So first of all, you guys nailed those intros. I'm nervous now. You guys were on point there. You just turned it on. So I'm the producer at Stormcloud, and we're working on Brutal for PS4 and PC. And we're going to chat some games today, Brutal and games in general. Let's do it.
Nice. Now, by the way, I just want to say congrats on the game being greenlit on Steam. So definitely looking forward to that. I currently am without a PlayStation, so the only way I'm going to be able to play is like mouse and keyboard. It has controller support, right?
Oh yeah,
I can at least
by
pretend
the time this game releases, we will get Kids Move a PS4. No worries. One way or another, sucker.
But man. Once again, Richard, it's great to have you here. But I've been hearing a lot about Brutal from our guy Nicodemus. He's been high on it, and so I'm glad we're able to get you on here. And I just want to ask you, please tell us about Brutal. What can we expect from this title? It looks kind of gory, but I definitely want to hear some insight from you.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. So we describe Brutal as sort of a modern reimagining of the classic ASCII dungeon crawlers. So ASCII dungeon crawlers, kind of like the original dungeon crawling games, came out a long time ago, and they had the kind of ASCII art styles to all the characters, the symbols on the keyboard, and we want to take that and do a 3D version of that and kind of pay homage to those old kind of games. So it's got a kind of Tron feel, it's got an old school kind of ASCII feel, and kind of combine that art style with a modern kind of gameplay feel. So games like Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac and Rogue Legacy, they were all great games we really enjoyed. And we want to try and take some things that they do well, as well as mechanics from older games, and kind of bring our art style into it as well. Like, a nice great package for people to play. So you've got 4 characters to choose from. You've got Mage, Warrior, Amazon, and Ranger. So different classes, basically. And the idea is that you're going from level 1 of the dungeon down to level 26, face off against the dungeon boss, with permadeath being sort of a main feature of the game. Once you die, you start the run again, and everything changes. So the level layout, the weapons you might find, the enemies you'll face, it all changes again. So the idea is try and get from level 1 to 26 without dying. So, which is possible. I've done it a few times, I promise.
1 to 26? Without dying?
Oh. Without dying, yeah.
Wow.
So
If the creator says he's done it a few times, only a few times, we're gonna be frustrated and go through a couple of controllers. If he's only done it a few times, we might break a few controllers.
Right.
Yeah. One thing we have, there's 2 things that we've made to make it a bit more, not casual, but a bit more user friendly. Unlike you guys, I work a lot. I play games as a hobby and as a passion in my spare time, but I can't do it, every day for hours at a time. I maybe get like an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day, depending on what I'm doing. So it's got a save system in it, so you can save any time, quit out and come back. It isn't like one run. You can take a break, come back later. And you can also collect loot in the game. So you find this loot in the game, and then you trade that loot in for extra lives. So if you get enough loot by searching the dungeons, explore the whole level. If you explore the whole level, you collect loot, and you can trade that in for extra lives. When you die, you can reincarnate where you died and carry on that run. So you're sort of rewarded for exploring more rooms or finding more loot by getting extra lives from that. Obviously, there's a risk there in that the more you explore, the more enemies you find. So it's kind of a risk-reward strategy. But you can gain extra life and therefore, go on further in the game than you would normally.
So are you saying there's a save at every point in the game?
Yeah, it saves all the time. Yeah, so you
Wow.
can. So
Look, Kiss Move likes that. He's on board with that.
Yeah, no, but it's important though, right? Because I think gamers getting older now, but we're all getting older. We still love gaming, and it's important to realize that you can't spend 10 hours a day just playing games and trying to get to level 26. You've got to have breaks. So I think putting that save system in means that you can play for 10 minutes, take a break, come back the next day. Make it kind of more of a hobby and a passion that you enjoy versus something you have to play in one big sitting.
All right. Well, it's good to know that if I die, I don't have to start like way back and regret dying where I died at. So that's cool.
Oh no! When you die, you do. No. When you die, you do. But what I meant was that you can. Let's say on your first playthrough, you get level 5. You can stop then, put the controller down, go away, put Netflix, do whatever you want, and come back to it on level 5. If you die, back to level 1, man. You are starting again.
No.
Oh,
wow.
yes.
You are back to the start. You are back to the start.
Dude.
Man.
Think about rage-inducing content.
Wow.
Yep.
That's gonna suck. Getting like to the 20s, maybe 2021, and dying.
Yo, Kiss Move, you got a live stream playing that game. I need to see that. I need to see that type of rage.
No, I may say some things I don't mean. So, hold on. So my question is, I'm sorry, just to play on to what you said. So, if you die, okay, if you die and go back to level 1, so is getting to level 21 and 26? Is it done like? Can you do it like fairly easy if you're skilled at the game? Because knowing that if you die, you can lose it all, or can you attain it quickly, or like how much? Okay.
No, of course, yes. I mean, there's definitely strategies to the game. And it's one of those things that the more you play it, the more you'll realize, okay, I should use this weapon, I should use this magic ability, I should use these potions. So the game itself, you got the 4 classes as I mentioned. And you've also got 15 weapons you can find. So you've got swords, axes, hammers, spears, and bows. So you find these weapons. You can also enchant these weapons as well. So you can make like a fire axe. You can make a frozen hammer, for example, a poison sword. And on top of that, all the enemies can be those types as well. So you might find a fire orc. You might find a frozen spider. So you realize how you can defeat these enemies over time. Every weapon's got a special ability as well, like a special move, basically. So you can use those in certain scenarios. For example, the long sword, you can sort of spin round in a circle and damage multiple enemies at once. So you learn how to use weapons at certain points as you progress through the game. And at that point, it becomes kind of easier and easier, and you can progress further and further. So, I mean, it's not a game that, it shouldn't and it won't take you 10, 20, 30 hours to get to the end of the game. That's pretty crazy. The idea is that you'll do multiple runs with different characters and have a lot of fun with it. So it's not going to be one of those games that you spend 40 hours on to die in level 20. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's definitely doable. I wouldn't say it's quick in terms of like half an hour. It's longer than that, obviously, but it's not a crazy amount of time, I would say.
Can I ask you this? Whenever you do go back down, let's say you get to level 15, 16, or whatever it may be, when you go back, if you go back to level 1, do you go back to a starter pack? Do you retain your attributes, or is it you completely start over?
You start again, yeah. You completely start over. So the weapons you found and the skills you leveled up in, that changes. We've got this one system that I really like. We'll see what you guys think of it. So in the game, you find potions. So you got the health potion, the poison potion, and so on. But every time you play the game, those randomize. So on the first playthrough, red might be health. On the second playthrough, red might be poison. So you have to drink it, find out what it does, or throw at an enemy. But obviously there's a risk reward there. Like if you drink a red potion that's poison, you take damage. If you throw at an enemy and you heal them, they get stronger. So there's kind of a risk reward strategy there as as
You're killing us, Richard.
Crazy.
So playing this game,
I'm literally killing you.
So playing it is essentially like playing Russian roulette.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question for you, Richard. So the game, from what I understand, is powered by ASCII code. So that's not a term that most of us are familiar with. Can you go into detail about what ASCII is and how does that play into the game?
Yeah, sure. So the sort of original roguelike games or dungeon crawlers, we're talking a long time ago now, before we had sort of 3D assets and models in games, they were all made from keyboard characters. So, the way I describe it is if you had like a path, like a walkway, there'd be hash symbols on the side of it to kind of make the path. So walls were hash symbols, the character was the @ symbol on the keyboard. If you fought an orc, it'd be an O character. So very sort of old and very simple graphics, maybe a strong word, but simple ways to represent gameplay. So we took that sort of top-down 2D approach and made everything, our 3D models, our weapons, everything from that. So the example I give is the shield you have in the game, sort of that Captain America style shield, that's 2 brackets and an @ symbol in the middle. The sword you've got could be made from, the hilt is the T letter and then 5 Ds for the blade. So everything's styled to that original sort of ASCII look. And we do sort of grab a little bit from games like Tron with the colors we've got. So as I mentioned, you do get enchanted weapons, sort of fire sword, a frozen sword. You get enchanted enemies as well, which kind of dab color into the game and sort of bring the game to life a little bit. But it's definitely themed to that sort of very, very old style of game.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I played the game at PSX, there was a bit of a learning curve in the beginning of the game, and I had a developer there with me to kind of walk me through and get me going. Do you guys have something? I mean, obviously you can't have a developer in everybody's living room, but do you have something in the game to where it will kind of describe all of that and kind of put everything into place fairly quickly to where everybody can kind of get going?
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's 2 things there. The first thing is that PSX was an incredible event for us. That was the first time we've shown the game to anyone, bar friends and family, which don't really count because they'll give you feedback and opinions, but it's always kind of like, your game's great, so it's always very friendly. Whereas take it to the public and they'll tear it apart very quickly. So we had a very positive reception. People really liked the game. They seemed to enjoy it. But just by watching people play it, we realized that 10-minute session we played it for, it was good, but if they played it for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, we realized that it wasn't good enough. So our original aim was to come out at the very start of this year, but we decided after PSX the game wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. People didn't understand how to make weapons, how to make potions, how to dodge. There was key things in the game that were so critical to the gameplay that if you didn't use them, the game wasn't as fun. So we spent the last 3-4 months working on that, making it so you knew when to craft a weapon, making it so you knew how to defeat an enemy if you figured it out, making it so that there's food in the world and that food gave you health, so you could along the way heal yourself. We spent a lot of time making the game still fun and tough and challenging, but making it fair, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done that. There is a tutorial that you can look through and reference at any point. And we've also added in sort of in-game kind of like notes and references. So when you find things in the world, it explains more about what you're doing in the game. So I think the biggest thing since PSX was us realizing that the game simply wasn't good enough and it needed a few more months of polish and improvement to bring it to a much higher level.
Okay.
So. All right, Richard. So as you've explained to us, and we've had so many gasps and ahs and realized we're going to be raising fairly soon, we noticed that this is going to be a very, very challenging game. What made you want to make this type of what made you want to make it this way? What made you want to make it this challenging and this difficult for the gamers?
No, of course, yes. I mean, I think it is a tough balance, right? Because there definitely is a challenge to the game. It definitely is something that we want people to enjoy and feel that they're making progress. So the way we describe it internally is that when you start the game, you feel quite weak. And then you get your first sword, you feel very powerful. And you go down a few levels, you'll face stronger enemies, you feel weak again. But then you'll enchant your sword, make it a fire sword, or find a stronger weapon. So it kind of ebbs and flows where you get stronger, then you feel a bit weaker again, then you get stronger. So it's never like, it's not crushingly difficult. It's not like a Dark Souls boss the whole time, It does kind of ebb and flow. So it does feel quite rewarding in that sense. But I think these games, when you first played them, they were so hard. Like these ASCII roguelike games were just impossibly difficult, and we are not that hard. We are nowhere near that difficult. But it was sort of we're at a great point now in gaming and in media in general. Like this podcast is a great example of that, where we're at a point now where people who grew up playing games or reading about games or listening to games media can now go and do it themselves. So our owner Frank, the head of the company, he decided that he wanted to do a game that he missed. You know, and those ASCII games are gone now. They're just, you get some of them here and there, but they're more hobby projects, they're more passion projects for smaller teams. And he thought, why not create a game that when I grew up I loved and try and bring it to a modern audience. So it really was sort of a passion project, trying to bring back something that hadn't been seen for some time. And it just tied in, the gameplay tied into it being quite challenging.
Okay. And as far as with the game, it looks like you've been in development for a little bit. How long has this game been in development?
Yeah, sure. So roughly from concept to today, 15, 16 months. So not too long.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's coming along quite well. We're a small team as well, but I think we're roughly at the 16-month mark from concept to today.
Not bad.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Right? I
Thanks.
know.
You said you're a small team. What size team are you guys, and like how long have you guys been together at Stormcloud Games?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So we've got currently 4 programmers. We've got 1 artist, although over the whole project there's been 3 artists. We have 2 QA. We've got Frank, the owner, designer of the company, and myself, who works in kind of production, marketing, and QA as well. So I think that's a 10-man studio. That's maths. And in terms of the core team, so our lead programmer, artist, and designer / owner, they've been together for a long time, like 10 plus years, I think, in previous companies. And then they started Stormcloud as a new venture, and the rest of us have kind of came in over the last year or so to join the team. So, but the core of the team have been together for a long time, and the rest of us have been there between 1 year and then longer. So, quite new.
Awesome. So, Richard, me and you, we've been talking back and forth over the last few months via email, right?
Yeah.
There's one thing that you don't know about me.
Oh, no.
Here it comes. I am the self-proclaimed king of indies of YouTube. Okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
It's self-proclaimed at this time because YouTube refuses to give me my due, but I am here to represent you and all independent developers. I got your back, so I just want to let you know that who you're talking to right now.
Right.
With that being said, that leads into my next question. With you guys being an independent developer, can you tell us what some of the challenges have been to actually get going with this game and get this game to where it currently is?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Man, I was nervous there. I was like, where's this going? The big question's coming. That's fine,
I just
man.
wanted you to know. I just want to know you to know fully who you were talking to, sir.
Right, yeah, of course. So I actually think we've been very lucky. When the game was first concepted, we had like a very basic trailer that shows the idea, the art style, the gameplay. The guys sent it to Sony, and Sony within, I think it was like a day, emailed back saying, we like it, can you come down, speak to us, and we'll try and figure something out. So we kind of went from having just an idea, a video concept, that kind of, is this an idea, should we go forward with this, to Sony saying, we love it, we'll sign it up and let's make it into a game. So that was very lucky. You hear sort of a lot of horror stories about games that just never make it to that final phase. But we were lucky very early on, so it's worth saying that. But I think, like any game, any team, any project will tell you that the hardest thing is time. You've got so much time to make so much game, if that makes sense. And a lot of times you can make the wrong decisions on, this thing's very important or this thing isn't important, and it could be the opposite way around. So a great example was PSX, where we thought, okay, some of these things in the game, they're a little bit obscure, but we kind of want that. We kind of want the player to figure these things out. And we brought the game to PSX, and we realized that they were way too obscure. They were just like, no one knew what they were, and you watch someone play it and you go, whoops, it's so obvious. The minute someone plays it for 2 minutes, you go, we made a horrible mistake. But you fix it. But I think time is always one of the hardest things, and I think we're at a good point now where the game is near completion. We're just kind of in the last phase of bug fixing, which is really good. But I think every project, every game, from Blizzard to Stormcloud, they would say that time is always the hardest thing. So that's one of them. And I think the other thing that I think we're doing okay with, but it's just there's so many games coming out. There's just like you guys know this yourself. You guys play a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
There's too many games. Like there's just so many games, and it's trying to get your game to stand out amongst the other 10 million games coming out that month, year, whatever. So I think that's been quite difficult. But I think we're lucky that our game art style is quite distinct. It looks very interesting. We're lucky we're at PSX, getting to speak to the hardcore of PlayStation fans. And I honestly I'm biased, right? So take what I say with a pinch of salt. But I do believe the game's a lot of fun. I do believe that when the trailers comes out, when the Let's Plays come out, when people see more of the game, I think they'll realize that it is something quite interesting and different. So I think that's been hard up until now. But I think we're slowly getting to a point where people are hearing about the game and they're seeing more of the game. So hopefully that should be good. So I think that we've been very lucky, but I do think time is the biggest thing, and then that last part of getting people to see the game and understand that it is something interesting and worthwhile looking at and hopefully buying and playing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Then the name is interesting, Brutal. Where did where did you guys get the name from? Did you just play it and say, you know what, this is brutal? Like how did that process come about?
Well, actually, yes. So I mean, there's an odd thing where in games, actually naming the game is so hard. Like no one knows this, but naming a game is harder than making the game because everything's been called something before. There's no unique names left really. You've made the game under a project name. This is Project ASCII, or this is Project Y. So it doesn't have a name for so long, and everyone calls it by the project name for such a long time that name feels good, if you know what I mean. But with the team, that name makes no sense. So we spent, I would say, like a month with this Google spreadsheet where everyone put a name in, thinking, what about this? And they were all awful. For like a long time, they were all completely awful. Some really bad ones. And one day, one of our coders, I'm really sorry, Dave, if you're listening. One day, one of our programmers who does the sort of AI and the gameplay was playing the game and kept dying, and eventually kind of went, "This game's brutal," and threw his headphones down. And we're like, "That's it, brutal. That's the name." So you are correct. It did come from us shouting out that word, and it was that moment of inspiration, that moment of genius, made us realize two things: one, the game was too hard. But two, that was the name that we needed.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Now, Richard, I wanted to wait to the very end to ask this question, but I can't hold back anymore. I can't do it. Okay, so we first we're going to have you all talk about the game. I knew I was going to be that guy that asked that question. So my question to you is there any plans to bring Brutal to other platforms?
Good question. So yes, we're coming to PC as well. So we are coming to PS4 first. We work with Sony, so we're coming to their platform first, which is great for us. And then once we're a few months into the game's launch, coming to PC. After that, no plans, if I'm honest with you. I think we've been asked before, what are our DLC plans? What are our next game plans? We have no idea. We're literally focusing on making this one game as good as it can be and making sure that when people get it, they think, well, this game's great, I can't wait for the next thing, instead of focusing on the next thing before the first game even ships. So right now it's all about make Brutal amazing on PS4, then make it amazing on PC, and then after that take a breather, figure out what's next. So
okay.
I think Fame's hoping it comes to Nintendo Wii U.
No.
Really?
No. Now, see, I will be playing the game on PC. I don't have a game on PC. I will be playing it on PS4. Obviously, Day one, I'll be playing it. But if you ever decide to bring it to another platform, and I'm not talking about the Nintendo Wii U, it'd be our gracious honor if you could let us know, and we would love to bring the news if it comes to another platform. And I'm not talking about Nintendo Wii U.
The DS, yeah, the Nintendo 3DS.
No.
I'll take a note right now. Nintendo 3DS.
No. Look at the screen behind you guys. Your green screens. I'm just kidding, but hey, we'll definitely be looking forward to it.
All right.
All right. Speaking of release, you said you wanted to launch at the top of the year, but you felt the game wasn't ready. So now it's May. what and you're planning to launch on the PlayStation 4 first. How soon? When do you think? Where do you see the game coming out on PlayStation? Being that we know it's coming to PlayStation first, when can we expect it?
Yeah, so there's no exact date yet, but I can say we are really, really close. I think one of the problems with being indie, kind of go back to the earlier question, is when do you release the game? You know, if I go back to last year, you look at Fallout 4 and Tomb Raider coming out the same day. That was a mistake, I think, by Tomb Raider, in my personal opinion, because they got lost under the Fallout 4 hype, and you know their sales were quite bad because of that. If you look at May right now, you've got Overwatch, you've got Doom, you've got Battleborn, like so many games coming out this month that I think if we launched this month, we got lost in all those games. So we're looking to launch we are quite close to our launch, being honest. We've got no exact date yet, but we are getting close to that launch. But it was important for us to miss May, because May was just a crazy month for games. Uncharted 4 as well. You know, it's a big month for games, especially on PS4. So we avoided this month on purpose to make sure we didn't get lost in a sea of games. But we are very, very close. It's not the best answer, but we are very, very close.
Well, I can tell you, June and July look a bit like vacant.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So summertime sounds like a good release window.
Yeah, because I don't know if you want to come out in the fall neither.
No, we don't. No, we don't. But it's hard though. You know, it's hard. There's so many great games coming out at the moment.
Yeah.
It's trying to avoid being on the same day as like Uncharted 4 or Doom, because you know there's only so much you can spend time gaming, spend money on gaming and so forth, that you need to be very careful with your launch date. And I don't know if you guys agree with me that Tomb Raider and Fallout launching on the same day was a mistake, but for me it was, and I don't want to do that with our game.
Speaking of gaming, Richard, besides the work you're doing for your game, what are you playing right now? Are there any other game that you're actually playing and enjoying right now?
Yeah. So I'm actually going back a little bit. I'm playing Skyrim again. I took a long break from it. Yeah, so I started playing Skyrim. I didn't play the DLC before, Dragonborn and Dawnguard, so I'm playing through that right now, and I'm trying to be good at Rocket League. I've suck at Rocket League, but I'm trying to be good.
It takes practice. It does.
Oh my god, it's so hard. Like I just got good at the football mode, the soccer mode, and then they added in hoops, and the basketball mode is impossible.
It's ridiculously hard. It is. I thought the premise was fun, but I tried it, and man, I was like, man, what are they doing? Like, it's already, the physics are already just crazy in that game, and then you gotta pull off these aerials just to make a basket now.
Exactly, it's hard.
Yes.
Not hard.
I know all about it.
So Skyrim, Rocket League, I've got Uncharted 4. I'm waiting. I'm going to play it in a few weeks or so when I've got a bit more time to try and play it in not a weekend, but try and play it a bit more, a few hours at a time here and there. So I'm looking forward to playing that game quite a lot.
And you know, it's crazy. I mean, you're human, and I mean, you're making a game, but you also have time, or at least try to find time to play other video games. Is there any other developer that you were inspired by, or like, man, these are like my favorite developers? Who would that be if you had to pick one?
Oh, it's a big question. So I mean, I think for me there's several things there. I think when you look at Naughty Dog, and they're always doing incredible stuff. You know, like no matter what game they've done in the last 5-10 years, it's always looked incredible in terms of visuals and storytelling and gameplay. Even though like their Uncharted 4 shooting or the Uncharted games haven't had the best shooting mechanics, they've always been good enough, and I've always enjoyed how they tie that into the story and how it feels. So I think Naughty Dog is a really great example. Sadly, they're not around anymore, but I loved the BioShock creators. I thought BioShock was a fantastic series, and again, I loved the story and the gameplay and just the world of BioShock. So those two for me always stand out. I think they're fantastic developers. But I do really like what the guys on Rocket League are doing right now. I think that game is really well deserving of all the hype that it's getting. I think they're doing some great things with their community. I think everything they're doing around the Twitch promotion, YouTube content has been really great. So for me, anyone who's kind of constantly making great games for starters, that's really important. But making great games and also chatting to YouTubers and Twitch streamers and talking to the community and constantly developing and improving their games, I think they're great people to look at and watch and see how they can make your own game better as well.
Here's a thought. You mentioned Rocket League. I have a suggestion for you.
All right, okay. I'm ready. Let's do it.
You should make the game free for PS Plus owners.
This
Work with
Joker.
Sony. What? just a suggestion.
This Joker.
Look at Kiss move. What? It's just a suggestion.
Wow.
I'll take it. I'll take the suggestion.
Hey, that game will go to another platform before it's free on PlayStation on launch.
Yeah, Nicodemus was using every muscle in his face and trying not to show the smile that he was going to make when you said Naughty Dog as your favorite.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it professional. Yes, I was. I am a Naughty Dog fanboy. So.
All right, they're great though. I mean, their games are fantastic. Oh, I forgot one more. Housemarque. Housemarque are a great developer. Their games are good. I don't play a lot of them, but I think the quality they bring, and again, just their consistency is incredible. So Housemarque are up there for me as well. Actually, they're great guys as well.
Now, how this is like a two-part question. How long has Stormcloud been around, and was there any other game that you ever worked on before Brutal?
So the company's been around now for just shy of, I think it's 3 years. I could be wrong with that. But when the guys got together to form the studio, they actually worked on mobile games at first. And the reason for that was that when you first form a team or form a studio, it's important to make a game as fast as possible and figure out how everyone works together, what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are, and what you guys want to do moving forward. So I wasn't there at this point, but at first the guys worked on a few mobile games and then realized that they wanted to make games that they would play regularly. So the mobile games are great. They actually had a lot of success, won a lot of awards, but they weren't games that the guys played themselves. So eventually they realized that was a good learning experience. They learned how to run a company, right? You've got payroll, you've got taxes. There's so much stuff to run a company. So they kind of learned that while making these mobile games, and then they moved into going, right, now we want to make games that we want to play, games that we would play when we're younger, we play today on platforms we play a lot, so PS4, PC. So those games were made originally, but we've moved away from there now to focus more on I don't want to say hardcore games, because I think that's a weird thing to say, but focus more on platforms and experiences that we as gamers enjoy.
Okay. All right. And I want to dominate with the questions. I want to know if Nicodemus or Frame have another question.
Yeah, I would like to ask them, like, what do you want the fans of this game, the people who buy this game, what do you want them to take from this game? What kind of experience do you want when they're all said and done, they're finished with it, when they put the controller down, what do you want them to take and experience from the game?
Out to enjoy it. That's the main thing, right? Have fun, enjoy the game. I think there's something special about being hyped for a game. It's like when there's a game coming out, Uncharted 4, example. Sorry, Nicodemus, I don't want to get you too excited. But Uncharted 4, as an example, when you're hyped about a game and it comes out, you buy it on launch and you enjoy it. That's a great feeling. That's a really, really great time. So I think that we want people to enjoy it, feel like it was worthwhile, value for money, and just have fun. That's the main thing. Buy a game, enjoy it, and hopefully that's what they'll get experience-wise.
Yeah, okay. And a little rage, nothing wrong with that. I mean, some of us enjoy a challenge, and to get mad at a game, turn it off, come back a couple of days later with a different strategy. So some of us do enjoy that. So
yeah. Definitely.
I think Sony might be really cool with their controller sales going up through the roof because of this game.
I haven't thrown a controller in a while, Richard. So your challenge in this game is get me to throw a controller while I'm live streaming. Yeah. That would be a heck of an accomplishment.
Definitely.
I'm pretty darn good at games. Just saying.
He's all right.
Just saying.
Nicodemus is pretty good. He just takes a long time to beat.
I really do. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, honestly, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that right now. It's something wrong with everybody else because you guys you guys do not take your time to really enjoy a game. You're so just rush. You miss out on all the little details in these games these days. So, yeah, nothing wrong with me.
Nah, that could be. I don't know. I don't know if you're playing or if you're taking a weekend off from playing them. So.
What?
Check my trophies.
Oh, nice. Now, Nicodemus, man, we do have a platinum trophy. So if you're going to challenge the game here, I think you should make a bold statement on the show right now. Will you platinum Brutal? Yes or no?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I thought we were supposed to be putting you on the spot, sir.
Oh, no,
What's going on
Tables
here?
have turned. Let's go. Let's do this.
Oh man. Gosh, I hate lying in public. I'm not a platinum guy, but let me say this. I will look at the platinum list, and if it is like reasonable and I'm not going to hate it, I will give it a shot. I will go for it.
And
I'm just gonna be honest.
So that's a no. That's
in
a
other
no.
in other words, he'll get about 5 bronze and 2 silvers, and that's it.
Nice.
And that's our king of indies.
Hey, I am the king of indies because I support my royal court. That's the main reason. And I do be on these games, and I beat every one of them. But yeah, them trophies, sometimes they just are so annoying. I can't deal with it.
Rich, do you have a platinum?
Yeah, I've platinum Brutal, so I've got the best platinum.
Of course he did.
I've got the best platinum.
What about the guy that raged at the game and gave you the name of the game? Did he platinum Brutal? Of course he did. What's his name again?
That's Dave. Sorry,
Dave. Yeah, Dave.
Come on, Dave.
Hardest platinum or platinum you've actually achieved?
So it wasn't a PS4 platinum. It was a Xbox 360 1,000 gamer score.
Okay.
But it was the Modern Warfare. Was it the first one where it had the plane section? We had to do it on veteran. You had to do it in a minute to get the trophy. Was that?
Oh yeah, I think that was the first one. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about because I failed miserably at it and never did it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think that or World at War, getting a 1,000 gamer score on that was probably my hardest ever sort of platinum or 1,000 gamer score challenge.
Those games be cheating though, especially World at War. It's like they have an endless supply of enemies that just come at you.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yes. So
just gonna throw this out there again. It'd be cool to get 1,000 gamer score on Brutal.
on Nintendo Wii U.
It'd be cool to get 1,000 gamer score on Brutal.
I'm not 2D yet.
He is that guy.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Now, being on the independent side of things, there's a huge independent community that I've learned of like over the last 2 years. Is there anybody that's on the scene like you would consider peers that you admire, enjoy their games as well? Any upcoming independent developers who put out anything? We know how you feel about Rocket League, but maybe some games that some of our viewers don't know of.
Yeah, of course. So I was going to say Yacht Club Games, who Shovel Knight, but I think everyone knows about that game. So that was a bad first answer. But they're fantastic. I really love those guys. But when I was at PSX, I actually met the guys who worked on Rainbow Moon on PS Vita, and their new game called Lost Sea is coming out. They're called East Asia Soft. And they're really cool guys. They've got a really quirky art style, and Rainbow Moon was very well received on PS Vita. People loved that game. So their new game is slightly different. It's coming out to PS4 called Lost Sea, and that looks pretty good. That looks really nice. It's a quite interesting little art style and game idea. It's kind of, I don't say it's Don't Starve-esque, but it's kind of got that feel to it. So
that's a top-down, like in the jungle type.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
The King of Indies played that one too.
Oh, nice.
I'm telling you, at PSX, I lived in the indie section. My friends thought I was crazy. Like, they like, what are you doing? All these AAA games all over the place. Why do you keep coming here? Because these games I know are going to come out. They're going to be complete. They're not going to have that many glitches. I know that for sure. They're going to have probably an intriguing story, and they're going to last longer than 6 hours. So, yeah.
Nice.
This is true.
He said,
well, to Nicodemus, all games are 36 hours or more. So.
Wow, shots fired in front of guests. Wow. The King gets no slack. None whatsoever. None.
But as far as there was a question in the comments. They asked 0 to 10, how hard is it to get the platinum in Brutal?
So if you're good at games, no. Honestly, I think that.
Oh wow.
I'd say a 7. Honestly, it's not an easy platinum, but it's definitely not like World at War / Call of Duty Platinum. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty attainable, to be honest with you. The bronzes and silvers are pretty straightforward, as are the golds. And I think you can definitely do it. I'd be shocked if it was thought of as way too hard. So I think it's definitely achievable. Definitely achievable. Definitely. Okay. I believe you, Nicodemus, man. You can do it, buddy. I believe in you.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. Hopefully I'll get it ASAP when it drops. That way I can not only play it, but I can give my unbiased, fair, judgmental as hell review of the game.
Yeah. Dude, be biased if you want, man. I won't complain. You can be biased if you want.
Now, Rich, what are some of the challenges you face when it comes to developing games and being independent? We already know. We talked about releasing the game itself, getting the right date to come out. But what are some other challenges when it comes to putting out a game, putting it together, and to ensure that you have something solid?
Yeah, no, of course, yeah. So I think one thing that we've done really well the last few months, but didn't do very well last year, was playtesting the game. So I think we brought in some friends and family. They played the game, gave us feedback, but it wasn't you guys, right? It wasn't people who were actually going to buy the game and would play it and were interested in it. It was people who knew us and were kind of nice enough to come in and play the game. So I think that getting people in who are actually the audience, who actually would buy the game or who would play it if it went out and was in stores, I think that's really, really important. And we didn't do that right immediately. We've done it very well recently. We've got people in who are, big into Dark Souls or big into Super Meat Boy and kind of games like that where they know there'll be a challenge and they're kind of not put off by that immediately, and they can let us know if it's too hard, too easy, too obscure, or what's going on there. I think that's quite a difficult thing, and we've definitely got that wrong at the start of the game, but are doing it quite better now. That's quite challenging. I think the next thing is, and we've suffered from this a little bit, but we've been okay, I think, overall, is when you announce the game, if you do it too early, you can lose the hype. If you do it too late, there's nothing there. I think we're very lucky that we announced at PSX, because that is the PlayStation event. That is the event to announce a PlayStation game. And if we had come out at the start of the year, I think that would have worked in our favor. But we obviously delayed it to make the game better, which I think is the best thing to do. If the game isn't good enough, don't release it, right? So I think that was the best call we could have made. But it didn't mean that we had this thing where we kind of went, hey, look at our game, it's coming out soon. Soon. It's very long soon. Soon's very, very relative. So I think when you announce your game, is very important. And I think we did it at the best time. I think we did it at the best event. But I think we should have been a bit more sort of, hey, it's coming out in summer. It's coming out, in the next X months versus saying soon. Because soon to you could be 2 days, soon to me could be 4 months. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the best answer, I think, to give. So I think I've learned my lesson on that front. So that's been quite difficult. But also judging how hard your game is. I think we've gone through phases where the game has been too hard, too easy, and I try to find that right balance. It's in the office, the guys always say that, I'm the best player of Brut in the world. So if I find the game too easy, it's probably just right. If I find the game too hard, it's way off. So try to make sure that the game you release isn't the hardest thing in the world, and it's not what you expect the player to experience. So there's been a lot of backs and forth on how to make the game feel good. To you guys' point, if it takes you 20 hours to get to level 20 and you die, you're going to be pretty frustrated. But if it takes you 2 hours to get there and you die, okay, it's still 2 hours, but you've got a lot of good gameplay there. You progress, you've got cool weapons, you fought cool enemies, and it feels good. So trying to find that right balance of progression versus difficulty has been quite a challenge. But I think we are there now. I think the game, although it's hard, I think it's not unfair, and I think players will enjoy that. Fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
My fingers crossed. Right? Try not to rage too much.
Nah, your rage is fun. We like your rage. It entertains us.
Jerry. I literally beg Jerry to live stream sometimes. So
yeah.
Nice.
When this game comes out, of course I'll be playing it day one. But I will I will save the game, like Richard Hunters, we can save the game. I'll save it, level 6, 7, maybe, and I would literally have to switch over to see if Jerry is live streaming, because I want to see that rate.
Yeah.
Now, as far as you make, we get to see there's 4 different types of characters, right?
Yes, there is, yes.
So that means the nice way to add replay value to the game, because you get through get to the game, multiple times with each character to maximize. Does that involve platinum the game, getting through it with each character?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Is there any plans, even though this is probably way out of reach, any plans to add any other types of characters later down the line? That any other sorts of type of characters that you guys could be prototyping?
Yeah, honestly, no plans just yet. Honestly, no plans. I think, again, like I said, I think we're just focusing on the game itself. We're making sure that the game that you hopefully buy and your fans buy and whoever gets the game, that they know they're getting the best possible experience. And they don't think that in May we stopped to work on this DLC and therefore the game that came out sometime over the summer was worse because of that. So we're spending like every development day making sure the core game is fun, is exciting, because you can launch a game once, you know, so we can't launch it and realize that it wasn't good enough and say, hey guys, don't worry, 2 months time it'll be better. By then you've spent your money, you've not enjoyed it, and it's too late. So we're making sure that the game that you get is as good as it can be, and it is fun, it is enjoyable. And after that's gone, once it's submitted to Sony, it's in cert, it's passed, we'll then look at more stuff after that, and it could be additions, it could be something different, who knows what it'll be then. But right now it's focused on making sure the game is the best game that it can be on day one.
Okay, if you had said this at some point earlier, I apologize. And if you can't answer the question, I completely understand. But you mentioned a few times about gamers, you know, spending their money. Is there a price point, a price range we can be looking at for this game?
Yeah, so we haven't locked it in yet, but I think we've all said that we're looking around $20. That's the price range we're looking at. So it's not like a $40, $60 game. We're looking around the $20 mark. That's not locked in yet, but I think that's pretty solid from our side. That $20 is what we're looking for.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for me. We got a question in the chat. I definitely want to address this question. Thorin Hammer. I think that's how you say the name. Yeah, Thorin Hammer. What is the enchanting and crafting system like?
Perfect, cool. So Thorn Hammer, thanks for the question. I know Thorn Hammer, so it's a good question. So I'm glad that it's a good question. I'm not getting trolled. So the crafting and chatting system. So in the game, you'll find these blueprints. You'll find these recipes for making weapons, and they all need like letters to craft it. So for the short sword, for example, it's made from a J, a G, and a Y, like the ASCII letters. So you'll find these letters in the world as you're kind of going through the levels, and once you've collected them, you can then make your actual weapon, and the letters actually sort of slot into the weapon and build it. Once you've got that, you can then enchant it by finding the correct letters. So again, if you find the red J, the green J, for example, you can do a fire enchanted version or a poison enchanted version. So as you progress through, you can basically take your basic weapon and make it a fire sword, a poison sword, and that does different damage to the enemies. So you know the fire one obviously sets them on fire, does a lot of damage at once. The poison one deals sort of tick damage over time. The freezing weapon freezes them in place. And so on. So basically you're collecting these recipes and these letters as you progress down the dungeon to kind of make your weapons stronger and better. Now, in terms of the weapons themselves, we've got sort of bronze, silver, and legendary weapons. So you'll first find your bronze weapon. It'll be better than your fists, but later on you find the silver weapon, which is better still, and then the legendary weapons, which do even more damage. And they look cooler as well. So you're constantly progressing and finding better and stronger weapons to make yourself stronger against the enemies you face later on.
Nice. Like that's one of the things that really did intrigue me about the game when I played it. Another thing that intrigued me was the art style, and then also the procedural generation of the game was really intriguing. Like when I was playing it, they got to one part where the dev, which is actually turns out it was the owner, didn't know that was helping me through the game, but got to one part of the game and he was like, I have no idea what's going to happen here. Never seen this place before. You're on your own. I was like, say what? He's like, yeah, you're on your own. I have no idea what's going to happen. Good luck. I was like, wow. I was like, this common in this game? He's like, yes. He's like, there's places where we haven't even seen or know what's going to happen in the game because of how it's built. So I found that very interesting and scary at the same time because of how difficult the game can be.
Okay,
it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
I have to ask this because it's in the comment section, so I'm very interested. What is quote 21?
What?
God damn. So I live stream every weekend, and there's a quote system in the live stream thing. And I once got asked what games I used to work on before Brutal. And one of my old designers on my old teams used to say that he makes games for your mum. He basically makes mobile games, or bubble poppers, or they're match 3 games, and they're basically games aimed at mothers. And I, while I was playing, I think Rainbow Six Siege, said without thinking, "Oh, I make games for your mum," and then kept playing. So it just happened. I didn't mean to say it. It came out. It's on the internet now. It's a thing. So thanks for that, guys.
Beautiful.
Wow. Wow, that's actually awesome.
Yep.
Wow. I love it. I love it.
And just because I think that's it for as far as the questions in regards to the team and Brutal. So now during this time, because it seems like you guys are close to the end, but not quite. What is like a week like this will bring to a game like Brutal? Is it polishing? Is it just administrative decisions? Like,
yeah, no. So it's kind of twofold right now. We're bug fixing, so all sort of the A and B bugs, like the serious bugs, they're all gone. They're fixed. So now we're kind of fixing more of the lower level stuff. So the game's been localized in a bunch of languages. So it's making sure that if you play the game in Japanese, for example, the text fits in all the boxes. So it's kind of very minor bug fixing, making sure that final bit of polish is there. So we're doing that and also testing the game constantly. And the other side is making any market material, so making some Let's Play, some trailers, doing blog posts, networking, getting the game prepared for its launch. So it's kind of the mixture of closing the game off with bugs and then sort of ramping up the marketing effort on our side as well. So it's pretty busy, pretty chaotic, but it's also that exciting time now where the game really is close. It really is close, so it's quite exciting to see kind of getting to the final stages of development.
Nice. And we kind of have it. How soon after the PlayStation release were you looking to bring it to Steam?
So it's hard to say exactly, to be honest with you. We're about to start working once the game is submitted on. So the game is done, right? So the game is built with Unity, which means that the game already works on Steam. All the gameplay works exactly the same as it should do. We've already tested various PC setups, so we're confident with how it will work on different machines and systems. Now we're going to work on the leaderboards. So the game itself has got, other than single player, it's also got 2-player couch co-op, so local co-op.
Nice.
It's got a dungeon creator, exactly, which is nice. It's nostalgic. It's got a dungeon creator as well, so you can build your own dungeons, and you can also share these online with friends and the world. And they're ranked via a leaderboard system. So basically, if all 5 of us put a level on the server, we can then rate them, and the highest rated one comes first, and then first down to 5. So we need to do that for Steam now, because we're using Sony servers for the PS4 leaderboards. We're now going to go work on the PC, like Steam servers for hosting the levels. So that's sort of our big thing. Steam achievements, Steam cards as well, a cool little thing. So the game is done. It's more a case of getting those kind of back-end systems up and running. But from what we've looked at Steam work so far, it seems pretty straightforward. It should hopefully be, I was going to say simple, but an easy enough thing to do. So no exact date yet. But once PS4 version is done and out the way, we'll then move on to the PC back-ends stuff.
Okay. All right. And you answered one of the questions that we had that I forgot to ask you. You said the game is being built on Unity, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so how do you like working with that engine?
So it's good. So I think there's 2 things to it. One, if you want to make a game and test a feature really quickly, it's incredible. You can really very quickly prototype something, be it a full game, be it a mechanic, be it how to use UI. You can very quickly prototype something. Once you've got that up and running, I think the challenge comes into optimizing it, making sure it runs at a good frame rate, it's not laggy, it feels good. So I think the positives are that it's fantastic for building the initial game, but it's slightly harder to then optimize the game. But I think that's a good trade-off, because you want to make sure the game's fun before it's optimized anyway. So I actually think, even though that's a harder part with Unity, the positives are that you can very quickly prototype and change and finesse features along the way. So it's been great. I'm not a coder myself. I've got absolutely no coding knowledge, by being able to do some balance work and some number tweaking with the game itself. If I can do it, anyone can do it, so it must be a good tool.
All right, Richard, I know it's getting late, and we know you are ready to go to sleep, but really quick, there's 2 more questions that I have from the comment section.
Sure.
Really quick, are there any plans for any type of online multiplayer, and will there be any type of in-game microtransactions, and if so, will they affect the game whatsoever, or is it just cosmetics?
Yes, so there's no plans for multiplayer in terms of non-local, so there's no plans for over the internet multiplayer. It's just 2-player local multiplayer right now, and there will also be no in-game transactions. So there's no, buy this skin. There's nothing. Once you buy the game,
Right.
you've got it. It's all there. There's no sort of, oh, whoops, you didn't buy level 7. We didn't tell you that. Sorry. It's one package. You buy it, you play it, you enjoy it, and that's it. If we do any updates, if we do, for example, oh crap, we realized that this thing wasn't right, this level or whatever it is, we'll update those and they'll come out as any update for you. It's not going to be a paid update. So there's no plans for any paid content. The game is as we envisioned it at launch.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what we do in the indie game community, man. We treat the gamers right.
Well,
Nice.
I just want to thank you, Richard, for joining us. And we're very appreciative for you joining in. I know it's really, well, technically early.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But we are definitely looking forward towards Brutal whenever we get to play it. Hopefully we get to play it this summer. Not. But just saying, hopefully we get to play it, and hopefully I have a PS4 when it comes out. If not, I'll be anticipating the PC version. So either way, I'll get to play it, and I'd be more than happy to show it off. But as far as just everybody watching, if you miss this interview, you can always hit the rewind button, or you can visit TiCGN.com. Or hit us up on Twitter. You can follow Rich. How can the viewers get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. So, you want to follow the Stormcloud Games Twitter. That's where I make all the content. So any videos we do, any blogs we do, I share it on there. So we're at Stormcloud Games on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as well. So basically, Stormcloud Games on everything. We do a lot of posting. We're doing a lot of content, a lot of blog posts, a lot of videos. So check us out there. Some pretty cool stuff coming up over the next few weeks.
Nice.
Great, you guys. I think I accidentally, purposely put that stuff in the description. I have the website in the description, so that is awesome.
Like
yeah,
like
great. But Nicodemus, you want to say your parting words?
Well, yeah, Richard, once again, definitely great to finally meet you, semi in person. Really appreciate you coming on. It's really late over there where you live, but thank you for gracing us with your presence, telling us some more about Brutal. Like Kid said, looking forward to playing this game. I'll be playing it on PS4 because I have a PS4 like every logical gamer in the world. But I'll be playing it, definitely getting this thing, and looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah, same here, man. Thanks for coming and chatting with us. We more than appreciate it. I know you're probably going to fall directly inside of your bed when this is over, and I do not blame you. But yeah, we really appreciate you coming out with us. Looking forward to the game. I will be getting it on PS4 because I'm a logical gamer, like Nick said. But yeah, definitely thank you for coming out and chat with us, man. It's more than appreciated. Thank you.
No, of course, guys. And honestly, I just want to say that it's been a great show. You guys are fantastic hosts, and it's been really fun. So thanks for the great questions, and it's been been a good time, guys. Thanks very much.
Did you get enough curveballs? Did we throw enough of those at you?
No, it was fine. I thought I was nervous for a while, but they were good curveballs. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
So there was some good questions, guys. Thank you very much.
Quick question before I hit log out. Do you plan? Are you going to be at E3 this year?
Yes.
Ooh, nice. Okay, cool.
And guys, and that's exclusive for you right there.
Oh, nice.
Wow,
There we
I'm
go.
going to tweet that Stormcloud Games to be at E3, and so I'm assuming Brutal is going to be on somewhere playable as a demo. So.
It will, it will.
Yeah, we will have the Inner Circle family will be out there, so
Okay.
definitely they'll be coming up to you. Definitely look out for the team out there, definitely.
Great.
Please do, yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. It's been another episode of the Writer's Block Podcast. You guys know where to find us, TiCGN.com. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. We out.